Welcome to the ISB show, another edition of the ASEAN Championship, Matchday 2. I'm here with Rahi and Roy. Even our fans out there are like, why are you covering this? No, we must cover this. This is a tournament. It's a region that we need to talk about. Some are calling it the Mortal Kombat tournament or something like that, even the Indonesian and Cambodian fans out there. But guys, there was another match day, another set of matches. Let's break it down. Of course, we always start with Indonesia, so let's continue the trend. It was a wild match. Wild match against Laos at home. Not at the GBK, but at home.
At home, wild match. Mr. Marcelino might have thought he was in Mortal Kombat with that tackle, Roy, don't you think?
Yeah. What a mess, man. The player you expect to come out and be a leader. I talked about it last time. I expect this guy to come out and be a freaking leader for this team. And he comes out and gets a red card in the 69th minute. That's what he did instead. And then doomed Indonesia in the match because thereafter there was the goal.
I think so.
That and some terrible defending. We got to say some really atrocious defending.
Yeah.
I mean, they did some good things going forward at times, but they were so soft in the back. I mean, that third goal to me felt like, yes, I saw some replays. The ball may be out, maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to say, but you can't give up on the play the way the defender is. You can't allow him to go around you like that. And at times I thought, Roy, they were just too soft. And I get it. They're young and it's a C-D team, whatever you want to call it. It's certainly not the first team, but you can't give up the goals the way they did.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And listen, man, Indonesia is in the international spotlight. This is a team that's being talked about throughout the world for what they've been able to achieve over the past year and a half with the improvement of their team. With that said, I think these young players went into this game underestimating their opponent. It was so obvious throughout the game that they were softer than they needed to be. They needed to be far more aggressive. They allowed Laos a bit of space. They allowed them to counter quickly. I think they completely underestimated this Laos team. And let's remember, Laos tied, who was it, Thailand? 1-1, like a few weeks ago. This is a team that has been showing that they're also improving. They're also improving at a pretty drastic rate. They were much lower than Indonesia to start with, but their improvement has been very, very visible.
That's what I was gonna say. Can we give credit to Laos? I mean, they came out.
Credit to Laos, man.
I mean, away, and it's starting the match off with a goal like that. Granted, yes, weak defending, a little bit suspect goalkeeping, but hey, they did it, right?
Yeah, really impressive. And I saw this in their last game against Vietnam. I thought that at the end, they came on strong. And I know they ended up being not a good scoreline for them in the end. I think it was 4-1 it finished that first game. But I was impressed with what they did going forward at times and the spirit that Laos showed. They tried to come back into the game even when they were down big. And this time again, they showed the spirit to come back when they went down 3-2. Granted, they had the advantage of the one-man advantage after the red card. But I'm really impressed with Laos' spirit and the way they fought back. And what they did in attack, they attacked quick. And honestly, Roy, this is a fast-paced game. Tackles were flying around.
Yeah.
It was an interesting one to watch.
It's fun.
Super, super interesting to watch. And like you said, this is a team that has risen up. And this is a team that in these 90-plus minutes, they played their hearts out, man. They freaking played their hearts out. It's what we've grown accustomed to watching Indonesia, because Indonesia is consistently the underdog. In the game where they're not, we remember the game against China recently. We remember this game that just happened. When they're not the underdog, I'd like to see Indonesia to maintain that intensity, to maintain that warrior mentality, to fight for their lives and fight to avoid death in these situations. They didn't do it today, and they paid the price.
Yeah, it's a young team, though, right? There's youth.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's a matter of making sure that the youth team carries on the same mentality as the senior team, like you mentioned, Roy. But one thing that did carry on from the senior team, I do want to talk about the positives, is Arhan has these missiles, Raheem, and these things are like deadly. It's insane. It's like a missile going in, and it's like led to 2 goals.
He almost scored from, I thought it went directly in from the throw-in, but I think the goalkeeper tipped it or something. That was a goal from a throw-in. No one else did anything. It was crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking of how he generates that much power, and I was thinking we should have a little video where you, Roy, and I try and figure out how he does these long throws, because I've never seen someone, the way he generates that power is so impressive, and it's so dangerous every single time. So one thing we have to talk about is set pieces have become a dangerous tool in the Indonesian arsenal. So this coach is really drilling in set pieces, and they've gotten good and very, very deadly at them. And even that third goal comes off a set piece. Ferrari with the nice header. And we need to talk about Ferrari, right? A big game for him, a great last name, as this is a team full of great last names, Roy.
What? Incredible. Who do we have? We have Kaká. We have Ronaldo. There's one more besides
someone said there's a Rivaldo in there somewhere. Right?
I did know
that's one in the comments. Someone was saying there's Rivaldo in there. I don't.
Are these their last names, or are these chosen names? I don't know. If they're choosing these names, Indonesians know how to name their kids. That is incredible, man. Absolutely incredible.
Look. So in the grand scheme of things, obviously, if Jay Ids is back there, if the main defenders are back there, these goals don't happen, right?
No.
So I don't think Indonesia needs to worry about that from the senior team. What I do like to see in this match is, though, that they came out with some firepower. They came out, getting some goals. And like we said, credit to Laos. But I think just forget the bigger picture. For the sake of this tournament, I think Tae-yong will want the team to improve a little bit, right, going to the next match.
Yeah, there's no doubt. No doubt. And they'll, of course, miss the Wonder Kid now. At least one game suspension. The second yellow, so I think it'll be just a 1-game suspension. But it's sad, right? Because we were hoping he'd make his mark. He still has a chance. Bad mistake by the young kid. But I think Strike, I thought, looked good at times. I like what he did late on. He tried to take the game over. He tried to take some players on. I liked what he did. But definitely, Roy, we need improvement.
Yep. And I like what I saw from Ferrari. The kid came out and scored 2 goals. That's a beautiful thing. But one reminder for Indonesian fans, this isn't as disastrous a result as many people. I've looked through comment sections and YouTube, and some Indonesians are saying this is a disaster. We're not as good as we thought. That's not the case. It's one game with a ton of young players. Indonesia still sits top of the table with 4 points. So keep that in mind. Still top of the table in the group. Still a very good team. Just underestimated their opponent. Didn't defend as well as they should have. Allowed counterattacks. I think this is going to be a phenomenal learning experience for these young players. And a reminder that this region is tight, man. This region has grown exponentially.
Yeah, and that's a great segue, Roy, because I want to talk about, let's move on now to the next matches, because I want to talk about 2 matches. Exactly what you said. This region is getting tight, and specifically Cambodia, Rahi. Yeah. They came out, didn't win the match against Singapore. Singapore, a country where you've spent a lot of time, Rahi. But anyway, Cambodia came out and played a good match.
Great match. I was very impressed with this fight and the spirit they showed. They look really nice going forward. They attack very well with pace. Really good goal to get back in the game. And to be honest, they're unfortunate, right? Because the 2 goals that they give up come off really bad goalkeeping errors, right? One of them a scuffed clearance. The other one entirely missing the ball. Both of them really bad mistakes. And if without those, who knows what Cambodia gets out of this game? After an impressive performance, I thought, in the first game as well. So this is a Cambodia team that you had to be very happy if you're a Cambodian fan with the way they're growing and the way they performed so far in this tournament. They didn't get the result that I think they deserved, which is at least a draw. And you saw Singapore after the game, the players and the coach talking about this was a disappointing performance. We want to do better. We get the win, but we weren't as good as we want to be. And that's down to as good as Cambodia was, Roy.
I thought Cambodia was significantly better than Singapore in this game. And not only did they deserve to draw, they deserved to win this game. Those were some jaw-dropping goalkeeping mistakes. I hope the kid is doing okay, because that
should have had you in goal. They should have you in goal, man.
They should have me in goal, man. I am a goalkeeper. I don't make mistakes very often. I am very slow and injury prone. And if I dive, it's going to take me about 8 seconds to get back up. But I'm not going to make critical mistakes like that. You could rely on me to save the balls that he failed to save in that play, in both those 2 goals. But man, I feel for Cambodia. You can't be happy after a game like this as a Cambodian fan, because you know you deserved it. You know you played well enough, and you lost. You got 0 points out of this game, and that's gut-wrenching, man. That is heartbreaking for a team that performed so well.
Yeah. Hopefully, better luck to them next year. But another impressive performance I got to say is, Timor-Leste, after getting absolutely hammered by Thailand, to come back and make a game out of that against Malaysia, who's a very, very solid team. I mean, now Malaysia's had two kind of dicey results. This one turned into a victory, but what is going on? Like, this region is insane.
Yeah, it's very difficult to come back after a game like Timor-Leste had in that first game. To lose 10-0 and then to come back, be up for the game, to fight against a team like Malaysia, it's really impressive. It's really impressive. After losing 10-0, you just want to go home. You want to book your next flight home, go back into bed, that you don't want to wake up the next day. But not only they wake up, Roy, they put in a shift. They put in a performance.
Yeah, and they got a tremendous lineup. If you look at their lineup, if you close your eyes and ignore the team name, and you look at their lineup, one would guess this is the Portuguese national team. Because you got Da Costa, you got Dos Santos, you got Freitas, you got Zenibio, you got Osorio, you got Quintao, Da Costa again, Viegas, Javier, Mendoza, Da Silva. This is a very Brazilian Portuguese influenced team. And there were moments in the game where you kind of see that. You kind of see that influence, a little bit of technical prowess. You see a little bit of flair here and there. The players aren't strong enough to do too much in this region, but the fact that they came away from this game the way they did is tremendous, man. They made it so difficult for Malaysia. They were on them. They had those 2 goals within a minute and a half in stoppage time in the first half. I was impressed. It was a really fun match to watch.
Yeah, that's what makes this championship exciting. Okay, let's finish it. Oh, by the way, Rahi, are you happy? Singapore should be one of your teams because you live there.
I spent some lovely hours in the hawker centers in Singapore. Roy, if you want a real culinary experience, my goodness, hawker centers in Singapore. Imagine all the best food of this region in one place, and you go stall to stall. My goodness.
What?
It's incredible. You can amass dishes from Malaysia, from Indonesia, from Cambodia, from India, and you can put them all together and make a little mixed, Southeast Asian soup. It's incredible.
Yes,
you may suffer the next day or that evening, but it's wonderful to eat in the moment.
Incredible. Okay, finishing it off.
This looks damn good, man. How exciting.
It's good. It's good.
It's honestly incredible. And so I'm happy for that. And so I know that regardless of this Singaporean performance, I know they ate well that night.
That's good. Okay, finishing off. The final match of the, Myanmar, fantastic free kick. That was a golazo of golazos. And then it gets canceled out by a penalty that was scored by we have some Norwegian viewers out there, a man who was born in Norway but plays for Philippines. Time and time again, boys, we've been talking about the importance of finding your diaspora. And that was a big initiative by Philippines out there previously. The previous coach, who's no longer the coach, made a big initiative about that. And it pays off in some way, shape, or form. But this was actually a fascinating match.
Yeah, he's the Tagalog Viking, as they call him.
Yeah.
I like that. He plays for, God, I've seen his name somewhere. Alisons, I think, is the team he plays with in Norway.
In Norway,
in the first division. So he's a player, man. He's a decent player.
It wasn't a great penalty. The goalie almost saved it, but But my point is, you get a big player like this, and that was a big initiative. But overall, I think Myanmar's got to be happy, and with this match away in Philippines, getting a draw, great free kick.
When you're away, a draw is always a great result, and I think particularly in this region where the fan support is wild. It's tough to go on the road and get a result.
Yeah.
Unless you're Indonesia, then your fans travel with you.
They go everywhere, man. Those Indonesian fans go everywhere. They travel the globe. Man, every day I wake up, you know what my number one wish is every single day?
What is it?
Indonesia make the World Cup so we could go to a match and celebrate being there with the Indonesian fans.
Okay, but we're talking about that's great. That's great. But we're talking about the Philippines.
I don't care, man. I wanted
to. I know, but by the way, my favorite food is Malaysian out there. I just want to let everyone know. But anyway, all right, guys. So we haven't learned much more because there are a lot of tight matches, draws. But I think the takeaways from today: this region is getting tighter. Things are a lot tougher. You better bring your A game because even teams like Timor-Leste, Cambodia, they're going to give you everything that we got congratulations to the winners, Singapore, Malaysia. Congratulations also to Laos getting a good draw, and congratulations to Timor-Leste and Cambodia also in defeat. But so great performances. Hats off to you guys. We'll be back for match day 3. And until then, guys, keep watching the ASEAN Championship.
Is that how it's pronounced? Is it ASEAN?
No, it's called the Mortal Kombat Championship. That's how it's officially pronounced.
Call it that.